Hi everyone, my name's Sophie. I work for Star Academies, a multi-academy trust with schools across the country. I'm not a teacher, but I have the privilege to work with teachers and school leaders as part of my job. I am a mum, and I don't think I'm alone in finding the current situation fairly challenging, trying to find the best way to support my kids to stay happy and healthy and engage with learning. Here at Star, we wanted to put something together for all those across the country trying to support children with home-based learning while juggling all the other demands on your time. We're running a broadcast each week at this time, Wednesday at 8:30 in the morning, with different ideas to keep your kids learning and engaged. For our second episode, I'm pleased to introduce Nabil Jamil. Nabil is going to talk to us about how to help kids stay connected. Welcome, Nabil.
Thanks for having me, Sophie.
And thanks for coming on. So firstly, what does staying connected mean to you?
I think for me, Sophie, as a parent and as a teacher, it's about the continuity and the maintenance of those existing relationships that we have, our children have forged and strengthened over time. I do find that the phrasing of social distancing somewhat unhelpful, in that the reality is that we are physically distancing, but through platforms such as technology, we are very much socially connected. Yeah. And again, as a parent, Sophia, it's entrenched in us to believe that the socialization to work at its optimum, there's a physical presence of all those people, parents, school, friends, clubs that our children go to, neighbors. And when that's been disrupted and pulled away so abruptly as it has as well, I think naturally parents are feeling the anxiety about it. They're feeling about, the anxiety of the holistic well-being of their children, and rightly so. But I see those wonderful relationships like a well-rooted tree. COVID-19 is just a gust of wind. Those wonderful, deep relationships that have been created by our children, our pupils, young and older, will not be disrupted by something like this, as long as we provide the appropriate platforms for them to maintain them during this period.
Oh, I agree with you, and a beautiful way to put it. So why is staying connected so important?
Well, I think it's important because, routine has been disrupted for many of our families. I think that for many of our families, when we read the research around it as well, one of the biggest factors that's affecting families is the fact that routine has been disrupted. So we have to concede the fact that a new normality is going to be created here. And our existing perceptions around things like technology and screen time are going to have to be rethought during this time as well. So I think for parents, and certainly for myself, my children not having that relationship, that connection, has meant they've gravitated towards technology a little bit more. And the anxiety is how much is too much. And I think it's about how do we find that balance for our children, taking into consideration the novel ways in which they can entertain themselves, stay connected with friends, family, with school, but trying to avoid the situation where they're just amusing themselves for hours on end with no real aim or purpose to it as well. So I suppose with that, for me, it's been, as a parent, it's just been about how do I mitigate the risk? How do I take advantage of the raft of benefits, the educational benefits that are coming online, but also following guidance such as that of the NSPCC and making sure my children are safe, well and healthy online at the same time as well.
And we'll include a link to the NSPCC e-safety guidance. But tell us a bit about that. So do you have some ideas for how we can make the most of those technological opportunities and allow our kids to stay connected?
Well, I think first of all, it's important to say that no two families are the same. There will be different demands and dynamic differences. So trying to mirror the school experience entirely is unrealistic, as many of us are finding out firsthand. Is unrealistic, and actually it puts on a demand on us as parents as well. I must admit, Sophie, myself, with two young children, frazzled is the word I would use for myself sometimes. It's like I said, David Attenborough documentary here sometimes, our children fighting for power and territory and dominance. And and the spoils of war are here to be seen for everybody to see as well. So it is challenging, but there's wonderful ways, and it's just about being strategic. So for me and for many parents, I'm realizing more and more so it's about the well-being. Well-being seems to be a real key component to how we engage with this. We've got wonderful ways. The virtual playdate, fantastic. Using the Netflix party for my daughter who loves Beatrix Potter books, watching the film, having a great time with her friends who are enjoying it at the same time. Being able to enjoy that together has been so powerful. It's almost like reciprocal play where what they get to do is discuss and debate with one another. They absolutely love it. Some of our older children love the gaming element. And yes, Sophie, I said gaming. It is a hot potato, and I think there's no reason to shy away from that fact. But, as an educator, I am seeing, the benefits that gaming can bring as well. Again, looking at the fact that our existing perceptions will have to be rethought in some way. I'm finding some wonderful things like, how much it improves memory. The things they have to remember, Sophie, navigating through a game are remarkable. I forget what I've had for breakfast sometimes, I'll be very honest. So not only that, they have to collaborate and that under very, very tight time constraints as well. Speaking to my cousin about this just this weekend, they're saying, well, I'm learning more with this than I do at school. So I just had to balance that with, well, actually, you're not going to, that's not going to really wash. But no, it's a wonderful platform. And for parents to, utilize social media currently, because that's what schools are trying to use to try and connect with the children, and for children to connect back with the school as well. And there's wonderful things they're doing, great initiatives that are taking place. And that group affiliation for our children is extremely powerful, because what they get to do is experience things at the same time, and then using technology have the platform to discuss the very experiences that they've had. And I think this is where the DFE passport that comes in, and again, we can share it with our viewers, I'm sure later, is a wonderful document that talks through some fairly essential experiences, things like, reading a book with a parent. It might be building a paper helicopter, things which can be resourced at home under lockdown, but are very, very powerful in terms of with families, but also connecting with their friends as well.
That's great. You've made a couple of suggestions there that relate to kind of learning. Are there some other things around school and learning that also enables kids to feel connected?
Yeah, I think one that hits both is the most recent one I watched myself, actually. It was the wonderful novel by Mary Shelley, Frankenstein. The National Theatre at Home, I've put that on for free on YouTube. Now our children get the great dose of a wonderful piece of writing, but visualize it through theatre, which is things we do at school anyway. We send them on trips, things like that. And something that was so wonderful this weekend was my cousin, who is currently GCSE, coming into GCSE class this September, talked about recreating the trailer. So he wants to use the makeup, and he wants to dress up and make the trailer better. I don't know how we'll achieve that, but he's certainly going to try. But from a school perspective, Sophie, we've all heard about Oak National Academy, the wonderful work they've done in creating this in such a short period of time, the online learning. And I think it's really important to emphasize that many schools will send work home, and it's usually wonderful activities, and children really, really engage with it. I think what this does is adds another dimension. What we can get is skilled teachers teaching and affording children the very experience they would have in a classroom, which again motivates children. And if we add a layer to that by perhaps getting them to, some of our older students who have a more intense learning day, they can enjoy the experience together and discuss, debate, scaffold for one another, help each other through their work. I think it becomes a bit more seamless for them going forward.
And so you're saying that they can engage with that learning by joining at the same time as their friends, and therefore they can have those conversations, have the same kind of interaction around that learning that they would have during the school day.
Absolutely. And I think, again, importantly, whilst it will not have the maximum effect that it would have in a classroom, what we're equally doing is building that self-regulation, the very skills that we are looking for our children to thrive in education at school, being able to work through problems on their own first before having to ask for help. That kind of resilience is, and certainly academic resilience, I would call it, is going to be powerful given the type of resilience they've had to show through lockdown.
Absolutely. And anything else with a sort of learning string to its bow?
Yeah, again, I think looking at the raft of educational resources online, BBC Bite Size is a wonderful platform where what they've done is attuned the curriculum to some wonderful programs online. And sometimes, for children, it's not just about writing and reading. Sometimes it's a good starting point to observe something, get them motivated to then go and do some writing and reading as well. And certainly for our younger children, it just helps them visualize what's being expected of them as well. And it brings a bit of a change. And I think some children will benefit from that.
And is there a way to link writing to staying connected?
Yeah, absolutely. So with my own daughter, it's like a sort of a pen pal situation we've got in here. Pen pal is actually her grandparents, who she loves dearly, Sophie, naturally. So for me, it was about how can I engage my daughter with writing? Because the reality is that there will be some pushback. Eventually, it takes its toll on children. It becomes a bit intense. So we have to be creative and innovative. So using grandparents as a platform to write, I got her to write transactionally. So she would gain something from parents. She wrote with passion, which meant the content was better. And she really looked forward to receiving something from them. And again, that gave her something to look forward to, which is really powerful as well.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. That's a whole wealth of ideas. So I think we've talked about a virtual play date, possibly using Netflix. You've completely changed my mind about gaming in 3 minutes. And also about the power of social media and finding out about new ideas like the Globe Theatre, and we'll include a link to that below. And then I think that's a lovely idea about engaging with some of the learning that's out there at the same time as their friends, so that they can, as you say, have those learning conversations about it. And then I think writing to a grandparent is great. There's connectivity intergenerationally as well then with outside of their friendship groups, which can be really powerful. Thank you for sharing all of those ideas. And is there anything that you would say would be a kind of main benefit out of the current period that you would like to see?
I think the one that we cannot look past is the fact that we are going to have a more computer literate generation. Lockdown being forced upon us has forced us to engage with technology more sort of robustly now. And what we will find is we'll have some gains in years to come. Employability of people who are computer literate, it's all well known. I think that's going to be a great benefit, not only for our younger ones who are younger children coming through, but our older children who are now looking to perhaps move on to some apprenticeships, some jobs, and maybe even be further education as well. So very, very powerful indeed. It will increase the independence. I mentioned earlier, children who can self-regulate better, children who think about learning better and more deeply now, surely we'll be laying the wonderful platform for when they go back to school. So another wonderful benefit for that.
That's great. Thank you.
I was going to say one little comment there, Sophia. I know we're pressed on time, but just the fact that how many stereotypes have been dispelled through this very difficult tribulation. I hope that we will now come into a society which is more tolerant, and we realize what is really important in life.
Oh, absolutely, I'm with you. A beautiful hope to finish on. So thank you for all those wonderful ideas for helping our children to keep connected. I've definitely got some things to go away and try with my kids. Next week, we'll be joined by Rowan Davis, Head of Policy and Campaigns at Mumsnet. She's going to bring us some of the questions that are trending across the country from parents about home learning, and some of our specialists from StarLive will be here to respond to them. If you do want to give StarLive a call, our free helpline for parents and carers, the number is across the bottom of the screen, 0330 313 9162. Now, to play our episode out, I want to share an example of what one dad has done in response to his son saying that he was lonely and missed his friends. It's a bit tech savvy, but not hugely, and hopefully it's something that you might like to try with your kids or with their friends. This is an example of bringing children together to feel connected from one nursery in Cheshire, High Hopes Nursery. I hope you enjoy. In the meantime, stay safe, stay home, and I'll see you next week.
I see your teeth of green, red roses too. I see the blue for me and you. And I think you myself. What a wonderful world. I see skies of blue. How bright. The white birthday. The dark secret night. I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Colours of the rainbow. So pretty in the skies. Also on the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands. How do you do? I'm really silent. I love you. I hear babies cry. Then I'll never know. I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I think to myself, what a wonderful world.